Welcome back to the Iced Coffee Hour with me, Jeremy, and obviously you guys know Graham and Jack, and I'm guessing you guys have made $333,333.33 from this podcast in its eternity. Is that accurate?
No.
Dang.
It's about half that. It's actually almost exactly half that.
Yeah, we made $165,700 from ad revenue so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really thought it was higher. You guys have been doing this for a long time.
And this is your fourth time coming on.
Is it the fourth?
I think it's the fourth.
It could be fifth or sixth, honestly. There's been so many times. I know I went at least when you guys were in California at least twice. Yeah. And I know we've done at least twice out here. So I'm thinking this is probably number 5 or maybe number 6 ever. So.
It would have been funny had you introduced us to, welcome back to another episode of Millennial Money. And be like, oh, wait, wrong thing.
Wrong show.
Wrong channel.
I knew we didn't have it because we don't have the candles set up here like we've had for Millennial Money lately.
True.
So,
A seance.
Oh, the seance. We need those for this market right now. Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
For those that don't know, you are a stock market investor. You have a YouTube channel with now almost 800,000 subscribers.
Whoa. Okay.
Not just a YouTube channel.
710.
It's multiple YouTube channels.
Round it up. You have
Multiple.
3 YouTube channels. You talk about investing, growing your wealth, personal finance, and you're a member of Millennial Money.
Yes. So I'm happy to be here. And as far as me, I mostly focus on buying the dip in stocks, as you guys know. And that's what I preach on the channel all the time. We talk stocks all the time. It used to be a little more other finance, but now I just stocks every day. So that's what I enjoy. And right now we got a fun time in the market. It's a lot of volatility. Everybody's wondering, are we going for a crash, a recession, everything like that. So it's making for some good content. I'm having the most fun. Let me say this. I'm actually the most in the best place I've ever been when it comes to YouTube videos right now. I am feeling great. I'm so energized to make content right now. And believe it or not, last year at this time when the market was doing great and you had, everybody getting excited, that was a time period I actually didn't like for YouTube content. Right now, I'm like having so much fun. Like I look forward to making 2-3 videos a day. It's a blast. It's just, there's a lot of drama, man.
It's interesting. The higher your portfolio goes, the less motivation you have on YouTube.
Yes.
And when it flips, then all of a sudden you're trying to have 3 videos.
Let's go, baby.
The worse your portfolio does, the better you do on YouTube.
I know. Well, last year, a lot of valuations got insane. And so that made it for, like, I stopped even buying a lot of stocks. Like, in the stocks I was buying late in 2020 and into 2021, the first part of it, Walgreens, JP Morgan, like the most boring stocks out there. Right now, I look at a market where there's deals all over the place. And so that, to me, that signals fun. So I think that's why I'm having a good time on YouTube. Like last year at this time, I was thinking about quitting. I was legit.
You were thinking about quitting YouTube?
Yeah, Jeremy was going down to like 1 video a week.
Yeah.
Didn't you go a while on your main channel without posting for a while?
Yeah,
right?
I don't think I posted on the main channel for like 2 months or at least a month, maybe a month or 2. And I was just really getting demotivated by the market and the euphoria in the market. And, every stock was going to 10X and these sorts of things. And so, we're in the complete opposite of that market now. And so I think that's what's created a situation that I'm actually enjoying it more.
Did you feel left out back then, that everyone else was kind of picking these stocks that were doubling and tripling, and you're sitting on the sidelines kind of like missing out of that rally?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of, obviously I've always had a lot of money in the market. So I was still participating, but I wasn't participating in those, let's call them sketchy stocks, or those sorts of stocks that were like, had no business models that were thriving during that time. So I never really feel bad at a particular time like that, or even a market like we're in right now where things are downtrending and you buy a stock and then it's like, it just went lower. I never try to let that affect kind of my mentality, because if you do, you're going to end up making worse decisions in the end. If you're going to start feeling FOMO in a FOMO market, or you'll end up panic selling in this sort of market. So I tried my best just to not let it affect me.
At this point, does it have any emotional effect when you see hundreds of thousands of dollars of swings in your portfolio each day?
I would say no, actually, believe it or not. No, I think I've just been doing it so long. I think that's the thing. I've been doing it for so long, and it's always been like a gradual rise for me. And so because I've been doing it for so long, I just not even really fazed by it. It's like if the market's down, I don't know, 5% tomorrow, it's like, okay, cool, I'll buy some stocks. But in terms of me getting highs or lows off of that, not anymore. So, but I'm sure there was time periods in my life when I was an earlier investor. It felt really good. Now, if I hit a new milestone, it's like,
Yeah, but what about a lot of the stocks that you've picked? Tattooed Chef, Planet 13, Smile Direct. Corsair, a lot of those stocks that you invested in have gone down a lot substantially. How does that affect you mentally to see those declines and then think that like we're trading at a good value and then they drop even further and you're like, well, I bought more, but it drops even more.
Yeah. So first thing I try to go back to is what's going on with the underlying fundamentals of the company. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, what's going on with Tattoo Chef's actual business? And is that being reflected in the stock price? That's the first thing I focus on, or honest or whatever, right? And so that's why I do a lot of channel checks, and sometimes people laugh at me. Like I go to Target stores several times a week here in Vegas, drive around to Target stores. Literally, I spend hours out of my week driving to Target stores, going to see Tattoo Chef items. I go to Sam's Club, Costco, all these different stores. Yeah, I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, unless you're really like into this stuff. I check out the honest section. We take pictures.
And what are you looking for?
I'm looking for seeing like new SKUs coming in. So right now, Tattoo Chef's getting more SKUs into the Target, which a SKU is essentially a new product. So right now they're getting more products, more shelf space, which is like a huge deal.
Imagine if Jeremy's sitting there like out front of the section, be like, hey, you should buy some Tattooed Chef. He's just trying to like sell it out, just throw it in people's carts as they walk by. Hey, take that. He's trying to get some items off the shelf there.
There was this is just probably like 2 weeks ago. I was at a Target store and there was a female. She was looking at the Tattooed Chef stuff, and I stood in the freezer aisle, I kid you not, for 5 minutes waiting for her to hopefully make a decision. I pretended I was looking at something else, just standing there like enough away that I wouldn't like spook her, and she wouldn't make a decision. And finally I was like, I don't have the time to like continue to stand here, so I went somewhere else.
You didn't mention anything?
Why didn't you talk to her?
Because I didn't want to mess it up. I was like, maybe she was gonna buy one. She was looking so intensely at everything.
You had to see if it had enough natural appeal, right?
Yeah. And I was like, so I never know if she actually bought or not. But I waited 5 minutes.
That was Meet Kevin's wife. She's like, should I buy the Tattooed Chef? Oh no, wait, no. No, Kevin doesn't eat that.
Oh gosh.
But you know what? Why wouldn't you have gone up to her as she was walking away and be like, hey, I saw you looking at the Tattooed Chef. I'm invested in the company. Can I ask you like why you didn't want to buy it?
That sounds
like,
creepy.
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know.
I
feel like
honest.
standing and staring at a lady for 5 minutes.
I didn't stare at her. Okay, I got good peripheral vision.
Maybe she was gonna walk in your position.
Yeah, she's
after,
freaked out.
and she was so freaked out. She's like, "I'll just keep looking at this Tattooed Chef."
Wait for this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go buy the broccoli over near this creepy man. I'll just
I
keep
don't
looking.
make any sudden movements. I'm just gonna like wait here for him to leave, and you didn't leave. She's like, all right, I'm gonna slowly exit.
Imagine she owns the stock of whatever company I was pretending to look at, and she's like, is that guy ever gonna make a decision?
I'm pretending to look at something too.
I want to talk to her and figure out why she didn't make the purchase, or like what it was about the packaging, or like the pricing. Did she take it out of the freezer and like look at it?
She looked at several while I was there. She would like take it out, like look at it. Like,
how old is she?
I would say probably 30s.
Wow. Does she have the time?
Yeah,
I'd imagine someone like in their 70s is going
70s,
just like read the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh gosh.
She obviously didn't like something on there with like the calories. Or, like,
it wasn't an easy sell, right? And that's a problem, isn't it?
Well, hey, I'm not going to make my judgments off of one lady that was in an aisle for 5 minutes, but it was interesting to see she was at least looking at the product. I don't know. But anyway, so tracking sell-through, to get back to that, seeing like if things are running out and those sorts of things. And we even do things like we'll count how many items they have and then go back a day later and see how many items they have. Oh, they have 11.
You do that, or do you send someone?
I won't usually go to that extent, but we do have people in the private stock group that do that. They'll count it. They'll go back the next day and they'll be like, "Oh, there was 11 of these, yesterday. Now there's 6, or now there's 8, or whatever."
How is that at all?
I feel like it's only relevant when you compare it to other, to its competitors, right?
Like, but you have to do that like across the country. You can't just do like one grocery store who happens to be in one location from one person.
As with all things in the stock market, it's not a perfect science, and you can't just say this one thing is going to determine whether this is a successful investment or not.
I just say like your ROI from doing that is probably pretty low.
I know.
Like you could do anything else and probably make more money than that.
That's what you could say, but it's about putting in the work. It's about putting in the work, okay? And the more work you put in, maybe the universe gives it to you back, and maybe helps you out a little bit. So I don't know. Yeah. But that's what I spend part of my day doing.
But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Storyblocks. Alex, your editing lately has been fantastic. You must be putting in a lot of hours.
Thanks, man. I love spending countless hours finding the perfect B-roll for my favorite boss. Little does Jack know I spend barely any time looking for B-roll because I have Storyblocks.
First of all, Alex, I can hear you because I'm right here. And second of all, what's Storyblocks?
Storyblocks is a subscription service that actually gives you instant access to millions of royalty-free HD and 4K footage, templates, images, sound effects, you name it. And finding the right piece of B-roll, such as this, is one of the most challenging, time-consuming, and crucial parts about being an editor. But with Storyblocks, that's no longer an issue.
Investing is a huge part of our job, and one of the best investments I've made is Storyblocks. The time and energy I save, on top of the increased quality of content, is truly priceless. And best of all, Storyblocks has affordable and scalable pricing plans.
You can start creating with the tools that you need without having to worry about a budget. Plus, their unlimited all-access plan lets you download unlimited assets from all 3 of their libraries.
Creativity really doesn't have to be so taxing, and you know how much I hate taxes. Ugh!
So take your editing to the next level by going to storyblocks.com/ICH.
Once again, guys, storyblocks.com/ICH. We have a link down in the description. Thank you so much, Storyblocks, for sponsoring this episode. And
Back to the podcast.
But as far as prices declining, how does that impact you? Do you ever get worried to the point where it's like, well, like, what if this is the new normal? What if it stays like this for 10 years or it just keeps declining? Or
I worry about the overall economy. You know, like if we were to go into a massive recession, that was a multi-year recession or something like that. That's usually my worry. If we're in a good economic climate, you know, I'm not very, very worried. Let's put it that way. Especially for any of these sorts of stocks that I own, they can only trade at unsustainably low levels for so long. You know, it can last for months or maybe even a year, but it's unsustainable. And just like last year at this time, you know, stocks got to very unsustainable levels. Like PE ratios reached like, you know, parabolic levels and things like that. And if you looked at like a forward PE through like Yardini Research or whatever, you looked at forward PEs of, you know, small cap stocks or large caps or mid caps, they were trading astronomically high at this time last year. It was unsustainable. And right now, if you look, they're trading at their lowest levels they have in over a decade. Over a decade for mids and small caps. And so when I look at that, that makes me feel pretty darn comfortable. I do worry about, okay, what if we had a multi-year recession? But outside of that, you could only have stock prices trade unsustainably low or high for so long, and then it breaks trend.
Isn't there a worry of opportunity cost where if, let's say your money's tied up in like Corsair, Tattooed Chef, and Smile Direct, that there's the opportunity cost of these other companies that might do better in the short term, or at least better over the next, let's say 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, so there's a few frames of mind from that. One is, do you want to get caught up into making short-term decisions, right? I'm always trying to make the best decision over the next 3 to 5 years. That's always my thought process going in. What's going on for this company over the next 3 to 5 years? Past 5 years, I don't really know because that's too far into the future. And if I'm making a bet for a year, that's pretty darn short term, to be honest. So I'm usually thinking 3 to 5 years out when it comes to these companies. And I'm trying to make the best decision for the long term when it comes to those. And, you know, back to the rest part of that question, you know, what was that again? I'm trying to remember.
Do you worry?
Do I worry?
Do you have a concern for yourself, or like what if these just keep falling?
Oh, no. Yeah, I stay focused on long term, and then I just I look at the fundamentals of underlying companies. Oh, and I remember the other point, you know, you were kind of going across there. What if it was a better stock or something like that, right? Well, what is that better stock? You know, look at Facebook after hours today, down 24%. Look what just happened to PayPal. Is that the better stock? That just went down 24%. Look what happened to Netflix. Netflix got slashed 24% on their earnings, right? And so, you know, I don't really go into the notion of, you know, oh, maybe it'd be better in these stocks or something like that. Look at bank stocks. A lot of those are getting close to 52-week lows now. So I think in this sort of market, you got to stay with what you believe in for the next 3-5 years, and basically put blinders on for everything else out there. Because I think it's just you'll end up. Kevin O'Leary today. Kevin O'Leary goes on CNBC. He was a PayPal shareholder. He got devastated in PayPal today. It was down like 25%. He says, "I'm done. I'm selling PayPal today. Putting the money in Facebook. Facebook goes down 25% after hours." So that's the type of ridiculous moves people make in this sort of market where they're just not thinking. It's like, okay, you just got slashed 25% on PayPal. Instead of buying the dip, you're going to sell, put that money in Facebook, and Facebook just got slashed 25%. So, you know, at the end of the day, you just have to put on blinders in this sort of volatile market and stay focused on the ones you like.
Now, you bought PayPal, though.
Yes, I bought PayPal in the huge dip.
Yeah, I was shocked to see it had dropped more this morning.
Yep, and I bought a lot more. I put another 30,000 in this morning.
What
at
did you
130?
What did you buy after hours yesterday?
I bought 15,000. Then I bought another 15,000 as it dropped more, And then I dropped another 15,000 as it dropped more. And then I put another 30,000 in this morning when it was down low. And my plan is if it falls to 126, I'm going to buy another 15,000. If it falls to 121, another 15,000. If it goes to 116,
well, get your cash ready, Jeremy, because Jack's buying in.
Yeah, I'm getting
Jack's buying
immediately
in,
tomorrow.
Jack, please do not buy PayPal.
Why?
Please, it's going to be another Robinhood
That's okay.
situation.
I don't even have any money anyways.
That's good.
Jack, come on. Why don't you have any money, Jack? Tell us what's going on.
You spent it all on a Miata.
No, I put it all in Robinhood stock.
Did you really, Jack?
No, I put a lot in.
Did you?
How much did you buy Robinhood?
I put like $15,000.
15?
Yeah.
That's not. It could
What
be
do you
worse.
mean that's not?
Could be worse.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, I put a lot in Robinhood, and I was wondering. I was like checking my bank account. I'm like, where is my money? I don't know where it is. And I think where it went is a month or two ago. I just like sent a bunch of money to M1 Finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do with M1 Finance?
Robinhood. No, it's like a little bit of Tesla, a little bit of AMD, and then mostly like I think it's VTI and like VUG.
AMD's looking good, by the way. That's one of the very few stocks that's holding up in this market. So.
Yep. So my M1 Finance account is like okay, but my Robinhood account is suffering.
Yeah, suffering
very badly.
Suffering very badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's rumors PayPal might, in the back half of this year, if Robinhood and SoFi continue to fall, they might try to make a move on Robinhood or SoFi. That's just a rumor, though. We'll see what happens.
I cannot see Robinhood being sold to PayPal. I mean,
Yeah.
but watch me eat my words. Just
We pull
watch
it up
me a
9
year
months
from
from
now.
now.
Someone will take that clip, use it, and it'll have happened. I would rather see like an Apple. I don't know, like an Apple or like a Google or like a big
Mm-hmm.
5 company swoop in, take them, and then integrate them within like a bigger service.
Yeah.
Robinhood might need to like rebrand everything.
Yeah. They
At
need a
this
big
point,
brother, honestly.
Yeah, I think if they got acquired by a bigger company, they change the name,
Mm-hmm.
they try to make it a little bit different. So that way when people log in and they join, they don't think of Robinhood
Yeah.
anymore. They think of, they're a new company, they're trying to make these changes.
Yeah. No, that might not be a bad idea at all. But the Hood, you guys still use the app, both of you, or not anymore?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
You know,
I still use it.
you still use it? Okay.
Yeah.
You have to admit though, for options, they're an easy platform for options. They make it so simple.
And margin too.
And margin, and I still see on Wall Street bets, people are still posting Robinhood screenshots.
Wow.
You're rarely seeing them from any other brokerage. So it goes to show you, I mean, just how Robinhood is being used right now. It's a lot of options.
Jeez, man. By the way, Robinhood fell 9 to 9s after hours that day. It reported, and today I think it's at 13 or 14. So it made like a 30-40% jump, like just in a snap of fingers. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, that's kind of the way I think about the market. Stay focused on the long term over the next 3-5 years. This is a lot to be scared of right now. You got the Fed, you got recession fears, you got companies not really giving guidance. I think there's a lot to be scared of in this time. But the best thing you could do is just focus on the next 3 to 5 years. So that's kind of my opinion on that.
I find it surprising that you don't panic or you don't get at all concerned about the stocks going down.
Yeah. No. I think it's just the experience. That's the thing. When you've been doing it for so long, I think that's what it really comes down to. I think if you're a newer investor who's just kind of started to get rolling in this, I think it's very easy to get panicked. I've held a lot of stocks in my time that are very controversial companies. I've held a lot of stocks that had huge short interest. I've held a ton of stocks that I went down 20, 30, 40% on before. So for me to go down in stocks, like that's expected. I catch falling knives all the time. So, think about some of the stocks I've been in, even in my YouTube career. GoPro, which went obviously dramatically bad, right? Tesla, which was the first year I was investing in, that was a drama show. Elon Musk with the SEC, all that. Obviously being through the crash, getting started in the crash, been through corrections. I think I've just been through so much that I think that's what gives me the confidence to kind of hold through.
But you also must have some like personal practices that keep you so level-headed and calm, because every time I see you, it doesn't matter. Like I used to see you more often when I lived with Graham, but every time I still see you, you're very calm and collected. What do you do in your own personal life to stay so calm and collected? Like, do you like meditate? Do you get like a good amount of sleep every night? What is it?
Yeah. So sleep, yes. I always get 6 to 8 hours every night. I go to bed super late, but then I wake up kind of late. So I might go to bed at 2 a.m. and usually wake up like 9 a.m., maybe 10 a.m. if I sleep in a little bit. So I always get a healthy amount of sleep. I meditate every day for about 15 minutes before I go to bed. That helps with like anxiety and those sorts of things, which I think is something that, you know, in this sort of market, you need that, right? Mindful meditation helps massively with like stress relief and anxiety. And in this sort of market we're in right now, there's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And I think that gets the best of people. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think a lot just goes back to experience. If you've been through it and you've been going through it, and the thing for me is I've been doing it so long and I've just kind of climbed the ranks. It wasn't like I went from like, you know, a super small amount of money to like a huge amount of money. The first time I had 6 figures in the stock market, I was 23 years old. 23 years old with 6 figures in the stock market. 24, I hit 200K in the stock market. And, you know, then maybe 28, I hit $1 million or so, 28, 29. So my you know, kind of moves up has been, I would call it gradual. Whereas, you know, if you just flood in a bunch of money, let's say you're already a millionaire and then you flood some money in the market, I think it's really easy to get scared. So, but as far as me, those are some of the practices I usually do.
When did you start meditating?
I did that, started that, let's see, that was about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, I started meditation about 1.5 years ago. And that was definitely amazing. You know, I'm happy I found mindful meditation because I always was somebody that dealt with a lot of anxiety and like over worrying about things and those sorts of things. So I came across mindful meditation and my gosh, that was you know, a life changer, I would say. Because the structure of your brain, you can actually change it. I don't think a lot of people realize this. You can actually change the way your brain functions. And I actually started diving. I didn't even think about that. I thought like the way your brain is or how you think is like just like how you think, right? But it's not. It's like just like you can transform your body to be more strong or more fast or, you know, get a 6-pack or whatever. You can do the same thing with your brain. And I came across a Wim Hof method probably 3 years ago. And that's what started me down this cycle of like, you could actually change your brain. You could change the way you think, the way you behave and those sorts of things. And then about 1.5 years ago is when I came across mindful meditation. And that was kind of like the next lever of like understanding how to strengthen your brain and the science-based, you know, advantages of that is astronomical. I would say anybody watching this, look into it. There's no hurt it will do to you, and it will only
walk us through the process. How did you learn about it, and how do you do that? How do you do
What
that?
does it mean to mindfully meditate?
Mindful meditation, what it is essentially is, you know, imagine usually I just go to my closet in the dark and just sit down. And what you do, you close your eyes and you know, you're usually always going to be thinking thoughts, right? And your job is essentially to focus back on your breathing. So you're going to think about something, then you focus back on your breathing, focus on your breathing. Your mind's going to all of a sudden drift from thinking about breathing to thinking about something else. Then it's up for you to say, you know, basically in your head, thoughts, and then bring it back to your breath work again. Or maybe you hear a sound in the house or something happens and you process that as sound. And then you start, you know, focusing on your breathing again. And so it's training. It's essentially like you would train your body. You're training your brain to not over obsess about things that aren't relevant or whatnot, and understand you don't have to have compulsive thoughts or something like that. So that's something that it personally helps me with. It does help with focus as well, which is something I always had a lot of trouble with in terms of focusing on a conversation or something like that. That was something I used to have a lot of trouble with. And I've noticed my focus has definitely improved since I started mindful meditation. Because, you know, there's a lot of times where I would be there, but not really be there. Do you know what I mean? Like you're talking to somebody, having a conversation. You're kind of like giving the vibes like you're in that conversation, but you're not really in that conversation. And last thing I've seen some improvement with is memory. I definitely can remember things better than in the past, and everything's not as much of a blur. And I can remember specific things I said to somebody or specific things that happened, which is helpful because, you know, especially if you're in a busy lifestyle, it can start to just become like a blur. And you're like, dude, I can't even remember what I ate yesterday. I can't remember what I did. And, you know, that's not a fun way to live, you know, because then you're just like, oh my gosh.
Why do I need to remember what I ate yesterday?
Yeah.
Why do I need to remember that? Like, I don't know. I feel like my mind could go without those little details.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, you know, I don't need to retain that info.
But it's also about like conversations you have with people, meaningful things that happen. Being present, that's a huge thing. It helped me be more present and like enjoy like, this sounds crazy, but like little stuff, like birds chirping or whatever, like that type of stuff. You know, when your mind's so like obsessed in this weird state, you stop even paying attention to like nature and like, you know, good things going on and whatnot that us as humans, I think, just crave. And, you know, so anyways, there's been a lot that has changed for me for the better. And I would say overall, I'm happier. And the reason I think I'm mainly happier is because of not having to worry about things constantly and over obsessing over whatever's going on or whatever.
What were you worrying about previously?
Oh my gosh, everything. You know, it didn't matter if there's ever anything in my life that went wrong. You know, I would just over obsess about thinking about it, constantly worry like, oh my gosh, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. Into a very unhealthy state, you know, where you just have obsessive thoughts about things that are going to go wrong or could go wrong. This might go wrong. You know, what if this happens? I don't know. What if this light falls on my head and I die? You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous thoughts that don't even make sense. But you know, I'm sure there's people out there that have gone through that. And that's where, you know, I kind of reached a breaking point. I'm like, I got to figure out a way out of this. And that's how I came across mindful meditation. I always heard about it, but I never really knew about it. I heard about it and I was like, I thought it was just some, you know, whatever thing, you know, that some people do. And then what got me was I looked into science-based facts around it and because I was like, well, if somebody says it's good, maybe it's in their brain that like, they're like, oh, that helped me out. But when you look into the science-based things, that's what got me into it. And so,
yeah. Have you done that, Jack?
Mindful meditation?
Yeah.
I tried meditating probably a month and a half ago, and I was doing it every single day. And I was like listening to something too, like a guide that would walk me through it, you know? And I did the introductory course for it, which I think was like 7 or 10 days. And then it was like, oh, you got to pay. And I was like, oh, come on. I stopped. It was helping too.
Everything's
I don't know.
free on YouTube.
I don't know. I should have just.
YouTube.
Yeah, you're right. I tell myself all the time, probably every day, that I got to get back into to meditating.
This is your sign. This is a sign. I used to.
And why'd you stop?
Because it helped, and then I thought I was cured.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
It's just mental health is just like physical health, and I think that's the way people are going to start viewing it in the future. I don't think that's the way it's been viewed as the past. But just like, you know, going to the gym, right? You could get overweight, and then you go to the gym, and then you get down to like a healthy weight, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. But then all of a sudden, if you break it, you're going to gain that weight back. So same thing with like mental health. If you get yourself to a good point because you're doing something, you got to stay strong and keep doing that thing. Otherwise, you'll end up relapsing, and you'll get into a weakened state again, and then your brain won't be in a good place. And so you gotta keep it up if you want to stay in good shape. That's the way I look at it. You kind of got your physical shape, and then you got your mental shape. So
what do you think led to you being so nervous and anxious about random things? Do you think there was something that happened or something like growing up, or maybe this has just been you since you were a child?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably my family circumstances growing up definitely could have, you know, drove me to just be, you know, have more anxiety as a kid. I think some of it's probably hereditary, you know, like you're born certain ways, right? And so I think some people are more likely to, you know, have those anxiety type thoughts than other folks maybe, whereas other folks just, you know, that doesn't even hit them. They don't worry about anything. You got some people that are fearless, right? Like they don't get scared of anything. They don't fear anything. They don't have any anxiety. And they're just kind of like naturally like that. Like they don't even need to try. And you got other folks that really had problems with that. So, you know, I think some of it's just probably lifestyle growing up. And I think part of it's just maybe the way I am, you know.
And do you think it's partially that anxiety and that like nervousness that led you to like want to do so much with your life and like become like a multimillionaire and like achieve great things?
I don't think so. First off, I'm a Scorpio, so if you don't know about Scorpios, look them up, okay? Look them up. Look them up sometime, okay? But yeah, I think for me, you know, I love competition. I love competing. I love playing games. I love winning and losing. Jack, you know this because we play tennis many times, and you know I can get very, very competitive. And I just love that. And even if you beat me, like I'm like, okay, you know, I would rather compete and lose to you than not play at all. And so for me, money is kind of a, you know, it's a game. You know, it's a fun game, and that's kind of the way I look at it. And there's certain things I'm trying to do in my life, obviously. Like I'd love to be able to make crazy amounts of money to give it back to charity and things like that, not just give it to my kids so they can ride around on yachts or something like that. But that's kind of the way I think. And I'm like, you know, to me, it's just very motivating, you know, and I think I love business. I love investing. I love those sorts of things. It's not like, it doesn't even feel like work for me. I listened to a conference call in the bubble bath last night. You know, it doesn't bother me. So.
Bubble bath.
Yeah, bubble bath.
Is that another trick?
I take at least 2 to 3 baths a week. Yeah.
Do you
bubble
really?
bath. Yeah. put on a conference call.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it just to you?
Usually, usually.
But sometimes.
But sometimes, I'm not gonna say.
Wow, we need some nice
teach me,
romantic
man.
music, some Barry White in the background.
Nice.
Oh, gosh.
Nice.
Wow.
So yeah,
Jeremy.
There's a reason I had 3 kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Shots fired.
gosh.
Wow. Speaking of which, you just had a 3rd child.
Yes, indeed. Yep, number 3, baby Axel. So,
How'd you pick the name Axel?
well, so we try to come up with somewhat creative names for all the kids, and so I don't know. We were just thinking, and then we came across that name, and we were like, "Oh, that's pretty different." Like, how many people they're named that? And we were trying to think of a 4-letter name because other kids have 4-letter names as well. Mm-hmm. So that's how we came up with that. But yeah, I didn't think I would be a father of 3, so I didn't picture that in my life. I also started having kids way younger than I thought. Yeah. I thought I would probably start having kids in my 30s. That's how I really thought. And then I ended up having, one kid at 24, one kid at 27, and then obviously this one a little late.
For Jack, that would be in a year from now for you.
That's crazy.
Imagine in 1 year
I
having...
could not
Wait, you were
imagine
24 when the
taking care
baby
of a
was
child.
born?
Yes, 24. Yep.
Yeah, so actually, Jack, that would mean like now.
Yeah, so
Like you start
she was
now,
pregnant
yeah.
when I was 23.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
See, I cannot imagine
Can't?
taking care of a child or like a pregnant wife right now. That would just be like so much for me.
Yeah, I think people make it out to be a lot bigger than it is in their heads. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. And it's not as big of a deal as you think.
I think it's a pretty big deal.
It's not. It's not. I think especially as men, I don't think, and even women are like this. I think, I don't think you ever feel like you're ready. I'll be clear about that. There's never going to be a time point where it's like, I feel ready to have kids now. It just doesn't work like that. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll always feel a little unconfident because it's a big responsibility. It's like I'm bringing somebody into this world. I've got to try to keep them on the right track. I got to try to teach them all this stuff and whatnot. So it's a huge responsibility. But in my opinion, you'll never feel ready. You just got to do it. And then when it's there, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like the best thing ever. So, I could say confidently, I look back at my life, my wife and I talk about this sometimes. It's like, what did we do before we had kids? Like life, like when I look back, I'm like, man, that's so boring. Like, what did we do? Like go out to eat or something? Like, you know what I mean? And then once you have kids, it's like, there's so much fun. They can get annoying sometimes, but there's so much fun that it's like your whole life changes and it's enjoyable. So, but you'll never feel like you're ready. I'll just put that out there. So, yeah.
Interesting.
And Graham's like, all right, let's keep it going.
Tell us about the Hungry Bowl app, Jeremy.
Oh my gosh,
going on
that's
with
my
that?
4th
So-
kid.
Yeah.
Hungry Bowl.
Give a background on the Hungry Bowl app because this has been a long time in the works and it's been draining a lot of
Yes.
money.
Oh my gosh,
You've been making a lot of videos on your money losing company.
Yeah. I got to get back to that. I haven't been doing
Yeah.
that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah,
Got
so
a video
basically you
idea.
take a pile of money and you burn it.
Yes, that's exactly what.
basically it.
The bowl is hungry. Okay. So Hungry Bowl, we came across that concept. I don't know, maybe sometime around this time last year, roughly, around doing a newsletter. Then we built it into an app. Got the app launched in August, and it was really rough at that time, but people stayed with us. We've just continued to improve it. And man, it's been a lot of work. I could tell you that. It's a lot of work. If anybody ever is thinking about starting an app or anything like that, it is so much work to try to make this thing successful. A lot of people have been putting in a lot of time, and we're making progress, but it's definitely not just like I think I maybe was a little naive going in. I think if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have done it. I'll be honest. But with that being said, sometimes ignorance is the best thing ever, right? Because if you know what you're kind of in for, you're much more likely to be like, nah, forget that. And you never push through to reach something, right? Kind of like YouTube. YouTube, I put out 100 videos and I maybe had 1,000 subscribers, 100 videos. If I knew I was going to put in that much work and get that little out of it, I think my first year on YouTube, I made like $1,000, maybe max. And so same thing with the Hungry Bowl. I went in, I think, very, very, ignorant in this situation. And I thought, we're going to make this work. It's going to be, a year from now, we're going to be at this incredible place. And I'm just like, it takes a lot longer to build things out the way you want to build them out. It's tough. You got to keep people motivated. Developers are so in demand right now. It's incredible. And they have all the power right now. And so, yeah, it's a grind. It's something I committed to for 5 years, so I'm still staying with it.
5 years?
Yeah.
Why 5 years?
Well, I did understand going in, it was not going to be, I didn't know it was going to be this hard, but I also understood it wasn't going to happen like tomorrow. Like you look at almost everything that's, been successful. It usually takes time to really get it up to a level that it's doing great, right? And it's in a great place. If we even think about our YouTube channels, like the first year definitely wasn't in a great place, right? Year 2, things start to really click. Year 3, okay, now it's really starting to get going. So that's the same exact way I looked at the Hungry Bowl. I'm like, the first year is going to be really rough, Year 2, hopefully you start to make some progress. And you're like, okay, we're getting somewhere with this thing. And then year 3, hopefully is that year where you're like, okay, we're doing this. And so this year for me, and I told the guys this, I said, if we make it through this year, we're good. We're going to be on the way as long as we make it through this year. But yeah, man, it's a lot of work. We grind on it. Thank you to everybody that ever supports Hungry Bowl. We appreciate you guys. We got hopefully a website coming at some point this year, and hopefully just going to make the app better and better. And thank you to everybody that leaves us a review on the App Store. It means a lot. We're trying to do something special there. And
there was a guy I heard earlier who spent $5 billion in the UK to build out a stock brokerage.
Wow.
$5 billion. That's how much they've spent so far.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, $5 billion, you may as well, what's the point of building the brokerage?
Yeah.
It's like you spend $5 billion so you could get $5 billion. I'm like, you already have $5 billion.
Yeah,
Exactly. Just don't build a brokerage. Just chill.
Insane.
$5 billion. Oh
my gosh.
Wild.
Jeez, I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah.
I have kind of an interesting proposition.
Okay.
So you said that you kind of suffered with like anxiety and nervousness and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I know that Graham has something that's similar. And I'm wondering,
I'm just uptight. That's all.
You have a video on YouTube
neurotic.
titled "My Struggle with Social Anxiety."
Not anymore, but I came,
Oh, you solved it.
I solved it.
Yeah, it's gone. Just
Just
put
gotta
it
go
up.
and you just practice putting yourself out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I have a theory, and I think disproportionately, a lot of people that are very successful struggle from anxiety and being nervous and stuff like that. And because of that, it pushes them to achieve more because they have either like a scarcity mentality or they just somehow feel inferior and feel like they need to compensate by being successful financially.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Sounds like something a broke person would say. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any thoughts about that. I think different things drive different people, to be honest. I can't speak for other people, but I know for just me personally, I love business and investing so much, like ever since I really started to dive into it when I was in college, it was just something that like right away, like I always hated school. I was a horrible student. I graduated high school with a 2.23 GPA, a 2.23. So for those of you who don't know, that's very bad. Okay. And, and then I go to community college and I start taking like business courses and whatnot. And I start getting like A's and B's. And I always enjoyed it. Even like accounting, which accounting is a subject that, I think a lot of people do not like, reading income statements, balance sheets, cash flows, those sorts of things. Right. And doing accounting for companies. I took 3 levels of that. And I thought that was fun. I think because at the end of the day, it came down to money and it was like business related. And so I even found accounting fun where I always hated anything math related, right? In school, like that was one of my worst subjects, but I enjoyed it so much. And so for me, it was kind of like I just found that as a passion. And I've always been obsessed with business and investing ever since. And I'm always very obsessed with like anybody who's very successful at anything. I have just a great appreciation for people that are really on top of their game, where they're the best at their craft. I love sports and like, I always love watching Tiger Woods play golf. I don't even like golf, but like how dominant he was back in the day or, any of these athletes, Tom Brady and whatnot. It's like, I just appreciate anybody that's that great at something. So, and Graham on YouTube, how great he is, we just appreciate him. He's in the Hall of Fame. So, but that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I don't know if you have any thoughts there, Graham.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've always been obsessed though with like with saving and money and investing. So I've always just been gravitating towards that. even as a young age, I'd collect. Like I would look through the change, and I knew that my grandpa told me there's a 1909 SVDB penny, and those pennies were worth like $2,000, and I'd look through all the pennies at like 6 years old to try to find that 1909 SVDB penny. You're never gonna find one, but just in case it was there, and I'd like collect when the state quarters came out. Remember those?
Yep, I collected those.
I loved the state quarters.
I had
I
everyone.
collected all of them, and I tried, and I would keep the ones that were in the best condition. And I had that book, that little thing where you squeeze them in there, like in all 50 states. I loved that.
Was it collecting in general or collecting money? Because it was money.
Both, I think. I love collecting things, but I also like collecting things of value that will keep their value or increase in value.
What I'm curious is, what do you think is in you that makes you want to collect things and like save? Is there anything in you?
I don't know.
Or is it just a raw desire? You just like it?
I used to be a squirrel in a past life, just finding nuts and just burying them away. I don't know. I love collections. I love when I see someone's collection, no matter what it is, because it's cool to see like to piece something together and keep it in good condition. And I don't know, there's something about it that's just neat.
No, I can understand that. I had a great business when I was 6 years old, 7 years old. It was a legal gambling business. So I had a bingo little machine, and my dad and my brother, they always loved gambling on anything. So I'd run this little machine and play bingo against them. And that was a pretty profitable business, I got to say. That was one of my most profitable businesses I ever had. So
I used to have one of those as a kid. It was a toy, but it was like this plastic gambling thing, like a slot machine.
Oh.
And you would do the thing, like you put in a quarter, you do the thing, and if you got all sevens, it would displace all the quarters that were put in there. Oh, wow. And I'd go to my grandma's house, and I'd put it up there, and sometimes we'd have family over, and I would ask everyone to like try to win money, and I just collect the quarters.
Yeah.
I remember one time, I think somebody won and got all the quarters. I was so upset. I was like, no, that didn't work. You got to do it again. It glitched. It wasn't supposed to do that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, and then that brought me to another point. As my childhood, I was introduced to gambling very, very young, because of my dad and my brother. And, even as a little kid, we'd go to the dog track, which I don't know if you guys ever been to a dog track before. It's basically greyhounds race around and try to catch this little electronic bunny.
Oh my
and whatever dogs win. I don't even know if it's legal nowadays, to be honest.
I don't know if that
it might, PETA might not be happy.
No way, yeah.
I know the one that we used to go to called, I think it was called Greyhound Park in Phoenix. I think they closed it down long time ago. But I was introduced to that at a very young age. And so I think that's where I get kind of my like understanding of risk, right? From a very, very young age, because I was introduced to gambling and like understanding like that's too much risk to take, or that's the right amount of risk. And what I used to bet on as a little kid is I'd have my dad place bets or whatever, is I would bet on dogs to show, which to show means you come in the top 3. It's seen as like a safer bet. You don't win as much money, but it's a little safer. So versus betting out a dog to win, because I think there was either 8 or 10 dogs in the race, and you never know who's going to win out of those dogs. So
reminds me why you like so much we have this horsey game.
Yeah,
at the wing.
that's funny. That's funny.
I love the horsey game. You just want to, and I'll admit it's so much fun.
It's very fun.
I never thought I'd enjoy this game so much, but it's like it's this racetrack of horses, and you click the button, and all these mechanical horses run around the track, and you don't know which one is going to win. And I think there's like 8 or 10 of them. And they all have different odds, and you click the ones that you think are going to win. Yeah. And sometimes they'll be neck and neck, and then all of a sudden, like the one in the last place will go like, zoom in front of everyone else's. Last minute, you're like, oh, one was winning, and then 3 just took over like the last second.
Oh, yeah. No, and we were always, being around my dad and my brother, who's 8 years older than me, they're always gambling on something, man. Always sports betting, doing that type of stuff. Or we even used to gamble on video games. So we used to have a horse racing game. There was a video game for PlayStation 2, I think it was, back in the day. And they would give you odds in the game, and we had this little box that you'd put money into to bet on your horse coming in a certain place. And if you lost, then the money stayed in the box. It was like this little bank box. And so I think at the end of the day, like I was so around so much gambling that I got very comfortable with taking risk, and like, where's my calculated risks that I should take, and where should I not take risk? So I think that's another reason why I don't freak out in the market, because I mean, when you're gambling, you lose a bet, you lose 100% of your money. If I go down 20% or 30% on a stock, it doesn't really freak me out. So as long as my companies don't go bankrupt, I should be okay. So
why don't you take 10% to your portfolio and just invest that in some of the riskier plays? Because it would give you a different aspect to talk about with a smaller portion of your portfolio.
What do you mean? Riskier plays,
riskier stocks, like more. I don't want to say momentum, but I don't want to say gambling.
Yeah.
But some of the hypier stocks that in short-term plays.
Oh yeah.
Under a year, but between 1 and 5 months.
Yeah, so short-term plays, first off, some of the stocks I'm in, people would see as riskier because some of the stocks I'm in are unprofitable businesses right now in high growth in newer companies. So I think some stocks I am in, including Tattoo Chef, I think some people would be like, that's a high-risk business. So I definitely don't think I'm in the safest stocks possible. But I think you go down a dangerous path if you're trying to do short-term stuff, like try to swing in and out of stocks and things like that, even if it's with a smaller amount of money. It leads you to doing that more and more often, which is something I got caught in 2015, where you kind of end up in this bad cycle of dominoes where it's like, oh, I'm making this move and I'm making this move. And you start getting in and out of the market. You start getting more in and out of positions. And ultimately in the stock market, I try to just stay focused because the more I do that, I know I'm not good at that. I'm not good at trading. Most people aren't, like 98% of people. I'm not good at trading. I'm not successful at swing trading. That's not my thing. Every time I ever do that, I lose money. And when I say lose money, I don't mean like you go down for a little bit and then you make it back. I mean you like lose money, right? You buy a call option in a stock because you think their earnings are going to be good, and it doesn't happen. You lose 100% of your money. And so I think it's just a dangerous game that I'm not really willing to play. So that's why I try to stay away from that, because I think you get into a real bad cycle when it comes to that.
Got it. I'm also curious, what is in the private account? I want to know.
The private portfolio?
Yeah.
It's pretty much all the same stocks you know of. Tattoo Chef's my biggest, which Tattoo Chef, let's see, so I think in the public account, I'm up to like maybe 20,000 shares of Tattoo Chef. In the private account, I might have like 65,000. So I think between those two accounts, I'm up to like 85,000 shares of Tattooed Chef.
Wait, so 65,000, and what's Tattooed Chef at? So 65,000 times, what is it? $12?
Yeah, I don't know.
$1 million.
Yeah, roughly $1 million in the Chef. And so, a lot of those are the same type of stocks. Honest, been buying Honest a lot. I probably have, I don't know, 300,000 or 400,000 in Honest right now. And then obviously I got some plays that I don't have in the main, like STC. PayPal, I just started buying in that one. I already got 72 in PayPal now. So, but a lot of it's just, the same type of stocks. The one stock I don't own in my private account is Tesla. That's the one stock I don't own that I do own in the public. I cashed Tesla a while back. And,
when?
Oh, I can't remember, but it's higher than when I sold. That's what I know for sure. I looked at it and I was kind of like, well, I could take a little risk off the table. I was a little Tesla heavy at that time, I felt like. And so I cashed a little bit. But yeah, it was a bad decision. Usually it's a bad decision to sell Tesla. I usually always regret it. And I've cashed out shares of the public account over time too. And every time
on Tesla.
Like, yeah.
Because I was about to ask, why sell in the private but not in the pub? But it sounds like you sold in both.
Yeah, in terms of my private, if I recall, I always held less, so it was less to sell. In the public account, I'm now down to 500 shares of Tesla, which I know still probably sounds like a lot, but yeah, that one I've cashed out of too. The thing that kind of worries me, and this kind of frustrates me with Tesla, and this kind of the battle of your mind, right, is I'm trying to stay focused on the long term with Tesla, but what I do worry about is I'm like, man. Are they really, what if we were to go into a recession, right? Are people really going to be out there buying $50,000, $60,000 Teslas? And because Tesla is starting to get to bigger and bigger numbers, they're going to become more and more like an auto company in terms of trying to hit numbers. And if people aren't really excited to buy cars because, let's say, we're in a bad economic time, what does that mean for Tesla's numbers, right? So these are kind of the conflicting things you have to go through in the stock market, where it's like, okay, I'm trying to stay focused on the long term of Tesla, but it trades at a super high PE. And what if we were to go into a recession and we're in a situation where, people just aren't buying cars? So, but at the end of the day, a lot of times what I found is selling Tesla is just usually a mistake, as funny as it sounds. And when I got a lot of crap because when I was buying in Tesla back in the day, I actually had sold completely out of my Apple stock back then. And I put my Apple stock into Tesla stock, which Apple stock's done amazing since then. Tesla did obviously much better. And so whenever I've sold out Tesla shares recently, I've been putting that money into the Chef and some of these other stocks, and people look at that and they're like, what are you doing, man? You're going to sell it out of Tesla to put some money in that stock? Like, that's ridiculous. And I can understand why people think that, you know, and we'll see what's the right decision over time. But yeah, most of the time I've ever sold any Tesla shares, I usually always regret it. So
How much is in the private group?
if you paid me $100,000, I would tell you. But
Graham.
not even $99,000.
What if imagine there's like $1,000? I mean, I know it's not $1,000, but
Graham, what's your net worth right now?
it went down.
Went down.
Like
All of ours did, man.
55 million.
No,
now.
it's like
Dang it.
it's like 15 now.
Okay.
But it was at the peak. It was 16.5, or like 16.8, and then I had to pay taxes, which bumped it down. Plus the market went down, so it's like 15. It's like 15 now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
Give or
nice
take.
number.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
well,
like a lot,
you make videos about that too.
It went from 16.2 down to 14.4.
Oh, at the low.
and
Graham,
that
take a
was-
screenshot.
No, I don't want to take a screen. I don't want to take a screen.
Why?
Just use that. Just use that, and then the market dropped on top of that. So,
Oh,
14.5.
yeah. Well, man, Nasdaq's gonna be rough tomorrow. That net worth's gonna go down more, man. I hate to break the news to you. So, but anyways, yeah. So, I don't know, man.
Do you want to play our little game?
Yeah, let's play a game.
Okay, let's play a game.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretend we have a $5 million portfolio, and we each have to pick 5 stocks. And then when we're done, we're gonna tape it to the bottom of this table. And next time I come on, whenever that is, we'll pull it out, and we'll talk about the stocks, and then we'll put it back. And then next time I come on, we'll do it again.
Cool.
So all right, we need $1 million in each stock. So first one I'm picking.
2 million.
No.
Oh, we're doing 5.
Yeah,
Okay,
five.
yeah,
Yeah,
five.
yeah. PayPal is the first one I'm picking here. PYPL. I think that's $131 here today. I'm putting $1 million in that.
Okay.
I'm picking the Chef. You know, I wasn't going to do this without good old TTCF, and that's 12 and some change. Let's see. Honest. So HNST. That should be 6. Think I'm going to go with the Planet. Okay. Planet.
Couldn't see that one coming.
You couldn't see
And
that
the last
coming?
one. Oh, Corsair Gaming.
I'm not going to pick Corsair just because you want me to pick Corsair. I'm actually going to pick SDC, which is SDC. What's to that today, guys? 270, 290. So I'm going to have a good mix here. And Jack,
right,
you look
so-
like you're scheming over there.
So I'm definitely doing Google.
Oh, Google McDougal.
And that is pre-split. Oh man, I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna do Apple too. And Apple.
Can we also
is-
include crypto?
Oh yes, we should be able to.
Okay, I'll let you guys do it.
All right,
It's kinda-
thank-
I don't like that.
Yeah, I'll do Ethereum.
Yours is going to be very similar to mine.
I got 3 stocks, so then I'm gonna do SPY. And then I'll do, why not Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
And that
okay.
is what's Bitcoin at, Jack? 38.
38. something.
All right, Jack, all you.
Boy, pressure's on.
All
Jack.
right. First stock,
Pressure's on.
Apple.
Apple. Okay.
Oh, ours is so similar, Graham.
Oh my.
Jack-
I'm also
gosh.
picking Google.
This is what Jack does. He just copies my trades, and then everything he buys just goes down.
Oh
unfortunately.
my gosh.
Like clockwork.
29.60,
We already know.
29.60.
So like I'm worried about writing down my stocks. Is Jack's immediately gonna be like, "Well, I could buy that. I could buy that. I could buy that."
I'm going to put Ethereum.
Jeez, now Ethereum's gonna crash. Thanks, Jack.
I'm going to put Robinhood.
Oh, the hood. Okay, I appreciate that, Jack. At least that's sticking your head out there for a bit. I appreciate
That's
that.
gonna be the one wild card is Robinhood.
Yeah, I appreciate.
I would
that.
be shocked if they're trading lower than they are today. But
Yeah, they got the problem with them. They got 2 more tough quarters to go through. 2 more really tough comps. Oh gosh.
Facebook. Are you gonna buy Facebook tomorrow?
No, I'm actually not.
Why?
Their numbers were so bad that even I don't want to buy the dip in that one tomorrow, which is saying a lot.
But this is taking them back to basically where they were at the peak before COVID.
Yeah. But dude, the numbers were so bad. So it's bad. AMD. Okay. Wow. 119. I remember it was at like 130.
119.
Okay.
0.69.
Okay.
119.69.
Dang. Okay. We're gonna.
You know what I think the issue with Facebook is that everyone, they basically got the entire planet to sign up.
Yes.
Like how many more, like now the only new people signing up are like just have to be born. Like they have to like.
And new people born don't want to sign up for Facebook.
But and that's the thing. Then they would rather spend time on TikTok. So I think they've already got everyone that they could.
Yeah.
And so the only ways to expand on that is to either buy other companies who have a younger demographic, or they could try to advertise to the existing audience more. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's just it's an older demographic on Facebook, and I think they just care about, they want the millennial audience.
Yeah, and Instagram still does well, but the problem is Instagram Reels is doing really good, but they don't make that much money off Instagram Reels.
Is Instagram Reels actually doing well?
Yeah, for them it's doing well. I don't think it's doing as well as TikTok's doing, but it's doing well. They specifically cited that, but they don't make hardly any money off Instagram Reels compared to how much they make off Feed.
Yeah.
And those sorts of things.
YouTube needs to figure out their YouTube Shorts because they're getting better with the algorithm, but still TikTok's algorithm is so on it. And I hate to say it, but it does feel like people are just they're taking the TikToks and then just slap it in YouTube.
Yeah.
Slap it Instagram.
Yeah.
YouTube really needs to, I think if YouTube were smart, they would pay creators for exclusivity. They're only going to create content for a year on YouTube Shorts and pay a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Because YouTube could probably afford it.
Yeah, they could easily.
Yeah. If they paid their top creators and we say, hey, we'll pay you $1 million a year, but only post on YouTube.
But I think a lot of TikTok isn't like the same creators getting a ton of views. I think like
it's more people getting.
I think a lot of TikTok is just like the overwhelming amount of people that just like are posting random stuff, like random people, and say some funny viral moment happens over here, then it gets traction on TikTok.
That's the way it seems, because I mean, I don't follow that many people on TikTok, but to me, it seems like I'm more so just getting shown the funniest bits posted in the last 5 days, regardless of who it's from. It doesn't seem as though the top creators, like on YouTube, the more subscribers you have, usually you get the majority of the views. But imagine if YouTube were just divvied up on whoever has the most retention that day.
Yeah.
Like that's the video you're shown.
Yep.
And just maximize the time that you're stuck to your phone.
I think that's a little more older school YouTube, like old school YouTube, when it was just kind of more of a free-for-all before people were really focusing on building channels out and things like that. And then after that, then YouTube pivoted toward whoever had the most subscribers really, you got like a dominant kind of feed before they went to the algorithm, right? Which I know the algorithm frustrated a lot of people when they actually moved to that, and like your homepage could be whatever, the algorithm thinks is relevant to you. So that's probably just a stage TikTok's at, but it's interesting seeing the Facebook numbers and their guidance, seeing Google, YouTube kind of not be impressive. I think TikTok's definitely a real serious competitive threat to actually YouTube.
It absolutely is, because TikTok has figured out how to keep people on the platform for longer. And again, I look at what Macy's doing, and when she's brushing her teeth, watching TikTok, not YouTube. Every now and then she'll watch YouTube, but when it's the majority of the time it's TikTok, and I see. It's you know what I think it is? It's the swiping. I think Tinder figured it out that people like to just sit on the phone. They like to be kind of engaged, like with that swiping feature, but with videos. And they've combined that with like the best of the videos that keep people watching the longest. And when you have so much content on there, the algorithm can like pick and choose. It's wild.
Graham, what's something you think Jeremy can work on?
It's probably a long list. Let me start writing them
And
down.
what is something that you see in Jeremy that you admire?
Okay, so what Jeremy could work on, I think, is the aesthetic of the brand, the channel, the Hungry Bowl. I think all of that could be upgraded, and I think it's holding you back. I think when you look at all the YouTube channels with over 1 million subscribers, they have a good set, and I think that's really, really, really important. And yours with the webcam and the little upper hand side, the new viewers to your channel, it doesn't bode like sophistication when they see that as a first impression. So I would say if you built out a good set, probably like $10K, it doesn't have to be too over the top, but like $10,000 in a really nice set with a really good camera, and you upload like that, I bet it would be the difference, like filming the Millennial Money's live versus the podcast. And you see that, just steady subscribing, then just a big bump. I think you'd see the same thing in your channel.
Ooh, that's good to know.
I think everything, you could double your views with a good set.
Ooh, that's good to know.
Just good aesthetics across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And what do I admire? Jeremy's never stressed out. I've never seen Jeremy anxious, stressed. Very much just zen. I like that.
Okay. Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks. What about you, Jack? What can I work on, man?
I would actually agree with Graham. I think it's just like the professionalism. And I mentioned this when we were driving your Tesla.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, Jeremy, you really need to get a better quality camera, better quality audio. I think that would all go a very long ways. And I think realistically, it could, if you spend, $5,000, that's all you need to spend. It's $5,000 on a good camera, a good mic, and maybe just like curtains for a backdrop. That's it. And just like a wooden table. I think you'd probably make that money.
What? Yeah. I was just thinking this would do really well for you. Is like those, what's the unboxing channel? Was it Unbox Therapy? Where it's basically just a table with not a green screen. It's like a gray screen in the back with some light shining up. You're at the table with your computer, a few little trinkets. That would be the easiest set imaginable. You get the headlight here, you get some lighting around here, and it's as simple as literally going over, flicking on a camera, and done.
I think it would probably make its money back in like a month, easy.
A few videos.
Yeah.
I would say within
The problem
3 to
is
5
it's
videos.
a lot of work.
No, it's not.
I feel
You're
like
You could
Exactly.
outsource it to someone and pay someone like $3,000 a month, and they would take care of all of that stuff. They could even probably edit for you.
Yeah, it slows down speed. Though.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Does not matter. I think this is holding you back massively.
Yeah.
When you see how much work, because you're putting in this work on your channel, and you're getting a small ROI compared to what you could get otherwise. It's like, imagine someone clicking on one of your videos and they've never seen you before, and the first thing that comes up is like your desktop. I'm clicking out of that. You can't compete with like Andre, who like makes his video. Welcome back. And it's like everything and magic and just the flipping cards and just crazy editing. He's talking about a high level concept. And Andre's getting like 300, 500,000 views a video.
Yeah.
You're putting in the same amount of education between you and him. It's just the video itself, I think, needs to be a little more produced. Just slow down editing, but for the work you put in, you'll get 10 times more than you're currently getting.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little different view, and I do appreciate that, and I don't think it's a bad idea. But I mean, that kind of changes the brand. Those are very scripted videos. Like Andre puts in incredible script work. That would change up, my whole thing. In terms of like you have to do that massive amount of script work. You have to spend massive amounts of time filming.
Kevin's not scripted.
No, I know.
So you could do that. You could do the same thing. That's what I'm talking about. It's flipping on the camera, but it's nicer. It's not your desktop.
But you were also talking about like slowing things down, like Andre, and those sorts of things.
to.
So I'm like, that's a whole different.
I think
way
just
of
a little
filming.
bit of a set, a high quality camera, a nice mic would go a long way. What do you think something is that Graham could work on, and what is something you admire Graham for?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's think. Work on. Trying to make people change their whole
It could be
YouTube
personal too.
channels.
It doesn't
No,
have to
just
be.
kidding.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
work
work.
No. As far as work on, let me think. I think just kind of expanding outside of just YouTube. And I think that's something you have been trying to work on. I think that's kind of the big thing. You've got such a really successful YouTube thing going, right? Between all the different channels. So I think kind of expanding outside of that, I think would be really, really important. Something I admire is just the consistency, in the work. I don't know a lot of people that like really work like that, and do it for years and years. And so I always look at you as somebody that I know is working all the time. And I love, living next door because I always know you're working and you always know I'm working. And so that's cool because I think there's a lot of people that get very complacent once they get to a certain amount, whether that's like $2 million or $5 million or whatever. I think a lot of people get very, very complacent. And so I've just always appreciated that you keep grinding, you keep working, and you're not satisfied. So that's something I honestly really admire in a big way. So, I respect like everybody that keeps it going once they have it, because not everybody does it. So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And then Jack, as far as you don't need anything. You don't need to work on a thing, Jack. You are perfect.
Jeremy, you
literally
shouldn't, man.
perfect.
Oh.
Jack wants to outsource his perfectness.
Yeah.
Someone else could be perfect for Jack, and he could hire it out.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard you've been expanding your empire.
Yeah,
Impressive.
it's nice.
It's nice.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. As long as you're growing,
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, That's all that matters. So you're going to have more workers than Graham's going to have soon.
I might already.
Yeah, Jack already.
No, I don't quite yet.
I got Alex, but Jack has like 2 people already, 2 or 3 people.
You're a tycoon, man. Beast.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't know what they do, but you know what?
Just stuff, man.
It's good for the economy.
You don't need to know.
That's what
It's,
I
yeah,
keep saying.
I'm helping
Helps
him
the
out.
economy. Unemployment is low because of Jack, because of this
Yeah.
guy right here. He's
Yeah.
hiring everybody.
Oh gosh, that's awesome, man.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Graham, do you have anything other questions? Anything other to mention? Jeremy, do you think there's anything else we should touch on that maybe?
No, I think a lot of people are curious about a recession, if we're gonna have a recession or something like that. Hate to end it on a damper, but I think there's a lot to be concerned about. There's a lot of companies right now that are not giving guidance, so a lot of companies are very confused on what's going to happen out there. And Mr. J. Powell, I think he's even confused. So we'll see how many actual rate hikes. I put my head out there recently. And I said I'd be amazed if the Fed raises more than twice this year. Everybody's saying 4 to 7 times.
No, I agree with you. I think
Oh
twice.
wow, that's not many people think like that right now. But with all the cloudiness, I think it's going to make it hard for the Fed to raise in meaningful ways, unless all of a sudden in the back half of this year, all the companies are like, oh, everything's great. Then they might raise. But outside of that, I don't know. They might be a little more timid. So, but yeah, that's about it. So,
well, stay tuned to see what happens on the next episode of Is There Gonna Be a Recession? Is Jeremy gonna have another child? Stay tuned and subscribe. We'll link to your channel down below in the description, and you can get your free stock as well when you sign up for Public. Use the code Graham. Jeremy, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you to Public. And wait, I'm not getting any money off that. Wait a minute. Don't thank you to Public. But anyways, guys, we got the paper. We got it right under here, okay? It's going to stay saved until next time I come on. And other than that, buy the dip.
Buy the drip, guys.
Jack, we got